Hey guys, welcome to Random Fandom and to this second episode of Honest Product Showcases. In this showcase, we are going to review the Smart Indoor Security Camera. So that is what the front of the box looks like. And as you can see, it's a pretty small box, so the camera itself is going to be pretty small. There's what's on one of the sides of the box: motion detection, night vision, remote playback. There's the back of the box with the QR code for the app. The app is available for iOS and Android. And then on the other side here, we got full HD, built-in battery, and 24/7 recording. And then there is what the top of the box says. It's got that Made in China sticker. And then there's the bottom, nothing on there. Inside this box, we have this little small white box. And inside it, we have the mounting hardware, which has 2 holes for screws, which are included. And then we have a bag here with some more accessories in it, which include not just 1, but 2 peel and stick adhesive pads. So that's kind of nice that they included 2 instead of just 1. We have the micro SD card to USB adapter. Micro SD card not included. And then we have drywall anchors with screws. And then inside of the bottom of the box, we have here the user manual. One side is English, the other side is Chinese. Note the little picture of the owl. That is the same owl that is used on the app icon. And then inside the bottom of the box is the security camera. As you can see, very small. About a 1.3 inch cube. And that's the front of the camera. It has IR LEDs around the camera. Ventilation on the side, so you can see inside the camera. Absolutely not suitable for outdoors. A bunch of little holes would let water in and it would perhaps damage the electronics. And then we have power switch, reset button, micro SD slot, and the micro USB port. And we'll get this up closer so maybe you can read what it says on the little label. Okay, I guess it won't focus that well. But it says Cam Soy on the back here. Smart camera, input 5V 2 amps. And then there's the S with a semicolon, WM, made in China. And there's the serial number, and that's pretty much about it. We have some certification icons and a recycle symbol. There you go. And then on the bottom, it's a standard 3/8 mount, which is great. If you don't want to use this mount here, you can use a regular tripod or anything of that sort. So you have plenty of mounting options, and the camera itself is pretty small. So anyway, now we'll take a look at the listing for the camera. So as you can see, it's the Mahomeyaha Hidden Spy Camera Mini Wi-Fi camera with audio video, 1080p Nanicam wireless home security surveillance camera with cell phone app, night vision, motion detection, and remote monitor. Recommended uses for product surveillance. Special features, night vision, motion sensor. And then it has the size here, which is 1.3 by 1.3 by 1.3 inches. It's a very small security camera. And then here is where the lies start coming in. It says 1080p HD image. And then if we go on a little bit, it says HD 3840 by 2160p. Now that is not HD. 1080p is full HD, HD is 720p, and 4K would be this. So as you can see, they're putting just a whole bunch of specs in here just to try to make it look amazing. It really isn't. They say provide you with the high definition visual feast. It only works with 2.4 GHz networks, not 5 GHz. IR night vision and motion detection alert. The mini camera spy wireless with audio features the 8 advanced infrared night LED lights, which provide higher precision image quality in the dark than other cameras with 4 night lights only, and they won't glow to attract any attention when shooting. The 150-degree wide angle helps you see more of everything that's happening. So alright, I just found yet another lie in the specs. It says, 150 wide angle. We'll get on that a little bit later down this listing. It says easy setup and real-time monitoring. Spy camera with audio video adopts the newest connection way, acoustic connection, which is much easier than traditional connection ways of the other cameras in the market. Also, a spy camera with video can be connected in 2 steps. Download the app, bind the camera. When the camera is connected to Wi-Fi, you can view live video on the app from anywhere. Loop recording and multifunctional mini cam. The small hidden camera with audio video supports up to 128 gig SD card not included. It should say micro SD card, but again, it's not included. With the loop recording function, the oldest files will be overwritten automatically if the SD card is full. Our portable wireless mini camera is easily monitors your home, hotel, office, car, etc. The package comes with a rotatable bracket that perfectly integrated with the camera, so you can place the camera on any surface. If we scroll on down here, it says 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi, 1080p Full HD, built-in battery, night vision, motion detection, and then right here it says 120-degree wide view. So up there it said 150 degrees, but down here it says 120 degrees. So more conflicting information. And then up to 128 gig SD card. And then here it says 4.6 out of 5 stars with 16 ratings. So this is certainly not a very popular product. I'm one of the few people who are actually making a review on this, and in this case it's a video review with samples of the video footage, and I'll also talk about maybe a few other competitors as a comparison to what you could get. Here's the one review on Amazon that has some video footage. You can see their sample footage looks pretty blurry. And there is a little bit of a pink and purple tinge. It's a little slight here on this chair, but I'll show you what my video footage looks like in just a bit. Now, remember that they said 1080p and 3820 by 2160 or something of that sort back up here? Yeah, 3840 by 2160p. Well, here I have some sample videos that were recorded on the camera. And if we look at the properties of this file, I did tell it 4K in the app just to try to get the highest quality, but instead we got frame width 1920, frame height 1080. But here's the real kicker. This data rate, 844 kilobytes per second. The video's bitrate can sort of vary from each of these videos, but they're generally around 800 kilobytes. And the frame rate is 15 frames per second. Now, to be fair, the 15 frames per second is a standard frame rate for security cameras. Even like some of the big name competitors here, like the Wise camera, has 15 frames per second, at least at night, and then at daytime they have 20. There you go. You can see it's a low frame rate, but that is normal for a security camera because, I mean, it's a security camera. It's meant to be recording a lot. I mean, whether it's recording when it sees motion or just recording 24/7 all the time, which would take up quite a bit of storage if they put in higher frame rate footage with a higher data rate. But even still, that bitrate is not suitable for 1080p. I know that 800 kilobytes per second is not going to look great in 1080p or even 720p, especially if it's standard H.264 encoded video. No, what that bitrate falls within the criteria for is 480p or 360p. You can see that 360p is 400 to 1000 and 480p is 500 to 2000. So as you can see, pretty crappy video quality from the review on Amazon and as well as from my review. As you can see, here is my sample footage. As you can see, it doesn't look great. Everything has this pink and purple tinge to it. This is my hat over here. You can see it's sort of a pinkish color. You can see that the MacBook here also got a pink and purple tinge to it. So you can see that this footage is kind of blurry and it's got this ugly pink and purple tinge to it that if someone comes in your house and you're wanting to try to like ID them based on like what color their clothes are and that sort of thing, well, this is not going to help you with that. But that is what the daytime footage looks like.
Sweater, yeah. Maybe up close you can tell it's maybe camouflage, even though it might look pink and purple, but further away, probably not. So there you go. This concludes the audio quality and video quality test. It is a little bit windy today, so the trees are moving a little bit every so often, but you can see that there's a pink and purple tinge to this camera footage, at least on the outer parts of the video, maybe not so much in the middle. There's another car that just passed by, and another one.
Now I'll go ahead and show you what some of the nighttime footage looks like. As you can see, it's not great quality either. It's fuzzy and blurry. You can see that the IR LEDs are working though. It does have functioning night vision at nighttime with my room having all the lights turned off, which in my case is only my studio light that I would have in here. Just the footage is not great. And again, if we look at its properties, 1080p but low bitrate. And it's actually 10 frames per second at night, so the competitor is slightly higher frame rate and a lot better quality. 13 kilobytes, one channel audio with an audio sample rate of 8 kilohertz. Now in comparison, this video is recorded with 320 kilobytes audio, and this background music in the video is 182 kilobytes with 48 kilohertz audio. So it's a lot higher quality. But there you go. As you can see, the footage for this camera does not look great. But if we look at some of the competitors, they have better quality. So for example, we'll take a look at some sample footage of the Wyze camera here. So you can see that the video quality is a lot sharper and there's no pink and purple tinge to everything on the Wyze cam. And it cost just $30, so it's a little bit cheaper. Now granted, it doesn't have battery backup, but it does have outdoor capability. Whereas this is an indoor only camera. In fact, that's what it says on the box. It says indoor and not outdoor. But this would also work with Alexa and Google Assistant. Whereas the Mahomeyaha only works with the Chinese app that they have. More details on that later. But speaking of one of the other competitors, if you are wanting something with a battery backup, well, you can get this Wyze camera and it's $80. Now it would have a lot better audio, of course, a lot better video. And you can see it even has two-way audio. Instant notifications. Get notified immediately when motion is detected, and you can say hello with two-way audio. So for example, if someone is trying to deliver a package to your house, maybe you have UPS come in, you could just say, please leave the package on the steps. Or if you have a bad guy trying to kick down your door, you could be like, hey, stop that, I see you, leave, or I'll call the police. You do not have that capability with the Mahomeyaha Hidden Spy camera. This just has one-way audio. You can hear audio, but it won't talk to you back. Now, I'll talk about the app a little bit. The app itself is called FOW, and you cannot use the camera without using their app. That is, if you want all the functionality of the camera. And in order to use their app, you need to create an email and password. Some of the app's features are locked behind a subscription paywall. So like cloud storage, obviously that's something that you would have to pay for, but that's one of the subscription features. The app can only be used by one device. So for example, you have a husband and a wife that wants to see when their kids are coming home from school or whatever. Husband's at work, wife's maybe out, doing some grocery shopping. Well, if one of them wants to see the kids coming home, they have to be logged into the app. But if the other one logs into the app, then one of them will be kicked off of the app, because you can only use the app from one device at a time. The app does try to connect to servers in China. It's a huge security and privacy concern. The camera would fail to connect to my Wi-Fi router, which is running OpenWRT. Now, it is a 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz router, so it shouldn't have any problems connecting. But it does with my router, so for some people, they might not actually be able to set it up, which is a problem. But again, about the security concerns, we have another issue here, and that is on port 81, there is Go Ahead Web Server, and it is apparently using very bad credentials. Now, they do not give you the credentials in the user manual or anything of that sort. But with Kali Linux and using a tool called Legion, I was able to launch a dictionary attack after I found out the open port and what is running on it, and get the admin and password. The username being admin, password is 888888. And logging in to the camera over a web browser would display nothing but an error page. But more on that in the next point. This is likely used for sending and receiving commands to control the camera. And sure enough, with a third-party app on Android that's available for free called TinyCam Monitor, I was able to get partial unstable control of the camera using these credentials. Using tools like Jordyn.io, or even just lurking around someplace that happens to have this camera and being able to launch attacks, you could take control of someone's security camera, and you could do it remotely. That's a bit of an issue with a lot of IoT devices. But I did open up the camera, and I was thinking maybe we could try to fix some of the issues by putting on some custom open source firmware but according to the SoC specs that I got from opening up the camera, I was not able to find a free and open source custom firmware yet. So that's not an option for this camera. Now for the Wise camera, it may be an option, because there are videos on YouTube of people hacking their Wise camera. Now I'll just show you an example of some of the search results for that. There's multiple videos here of hacking the Wise camera, and some of them are even installing a backdoor. So if you get a Wise camera, you can perhaps at least do something about it by installing your own custom firmware. But if you get the Mahomeyaha security camera, there is no custom firmware yet, but you're still able to get remote control of it. And with the custom firmware, you would also be able to get rid of, the contacting servers in China part. But you can't do that because there's no custom firmware yet. And part of that may be because, well, let's see. This is not a very popular product with only 16 ratings, whereas the Wise camera has 670 ratings and has been reviewed by much larger YouTube channels than even my own, like Lon TV, which, by the way, his videos are pretty great. If you're not subscribed to him, you should go subscribe to him too, in addition to me. You can get custom firmware on some of the competitors and better video and audio quality around a similar price. Granted, you might not get a battery backup, but you do get outdoor capability. So it's a bit of a toss-up of what you need. If you need a battery backup for really cheap, then yeah, go ahead and get the Mahomeyaha's hidden spy camera. Just do not expect the greatest picture quality, and don't expect to be able to put custom firmware on it. And don't expect it to be the most secure thing ever. But if you want better quality and custom firmware, and you're just going to leave it plugged in all the time and not really worry about a power outage, then you could get this Wise Cam. Or if you have maybe twice the money to spend, you could get this other Wise Cam, which has a built-in battery, and of course the two-way audio as well. So there you go. That is some of the competitors that you can get instead of this Mahomeyaha security camera. But like I showed you earlier, the specs were a lie. There's a pink and purple tinge to everything during the daytime, at least with my camera. Maybe it's a quality control issue, or maybe it isn't, but that's not a good thing to have. Especially for a security camera where you might be trying to like ID someone who breaks into your house and be like, they're wearing a gray hoodie or whatever. In this camera you wouldn't be able to really tell because it might appear like a pink or purple hoodie instead of what it was actually supposed to be. There is an option for you to have the camera either automatically turn on the IR LEDs during nighttime or in dark areas, or you can have them turned off. Like I mentioned here, note you cannot manually turn on the IR LED camera lights. And of course it's pretty small like I showed you earlier in this video. So anyway, I'll go ahead and show you some screenshots of the servers it's trying to contact and some results showing that these are Chinese owned servers, Alibaba. And then I'll show you the hacking process for the go ahead web server being successful. And then I'll show you a picture of the SOC so you can see for yourself. And now we can go ahead and talk about the app. Alright, so there is the Android app. You can see we have pretty much most of the same options. Take photo. Here's where you can pick the image quality. You see that the footage is a bit choppier, but this is also a lower end phone, so it could be because of that. You can record, you can rotate, and then if we go back, there's the messaging page. But where I want to show you the additional features that you get is over here inside the system settings. And it is under the image, and you can see that there is light mode, which can be set to indoor or outdoor, but that doesn't seem to do anything. But what does work is contrast. Now it is very slow to respond, but it does do something, as well as brightness. Brightness also seems to work, but no matter what you do, everything still has a pink and purple tinge to it, at least on my unit. And of course you also have this decoding mode, which you can switch, but basically it's just two different versions of H.264. You see that from the preview here on the app, like it's still adjusting. I mean, it's lagging behind. But that is what the app is like on Android. You get a few more features, not really a whole lot, but there you go. Now I'll go ahead and show you the app on the third-party one. You can see that I'm connected to the camera here, and there's the option here of changing the footage as well. So I can make things brighter. It is a bit faster on this app, it seems, but then it does crash just like that. So it is unstable control, like I said, but that is TinyCam monitor. Now I can of course try to reopen the app and it would not show the camera. Then what you have to do is you have to close the app, it seems, and then reopen it yet again, then it might show up. And just like that, it just showed up. But again, even through this third-party app, there is still the issue of a tinge to everything. Now we do have, like a hue option here, but using that won't really fix anything. and again it would crash. So open it yet again. Now something else, like when we hit this archive viewer, to show like videos, you can't record. And of course, if you try to record with this app, it says upgrade to pro version to unlock recording. Now here's the thing, this camera app that's as third party, it's not necessarily made for this camera, but made for a ton of cameras. So the option to change the recording may or may not work. The option to record video. Also, changing resolutions in this app doesn't work. Now I'll open up the regular app for this, and I'll show you something else. When it comes to the resolution, they let you pick the resolution, but it doesn't really change the resolution as much as it changes like the size of the timestamp. As you can see, I select 720p and it makes the timestamp smaller. So even if it doesn't record at 4K, there is perhaps potential merit to leaving the settings set to 4K. You'll have a bigger, easier to read timestamp that should be clearer, but there you go. But that is it for the iOS and the Android apps, as well as the third-party app that I found. Anyways, if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and just remember, this is another honest product showcase. What that means is I was, in a way sponsored to make this review. But like I said, it's honest, so like the company has no say in what I put in the review. So like I gave this a 2.5, maybe 3 stars at the max, because they're lying about the specs. The camera does work, but specs aren't great. It does have some features that some of the competitors don't have, like a battery backup, but it's also made up for by some of the other competitors having just better video quality, better audio quality, and also being able to be used in outdoor situations. It has some water resistance, whereas this Mahomeyaha camera has no water resistance. In fact, it has holes in the side of the camera. It's made only for indoor, and it says indoor on the box. It doesn't say outdoor anywhere, but there you go. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and until next time, peace.